essentially positive and negative liberty are two ways of going about to solving the same solution, and thinking that somebody else is right is what created all the conflicts of the history books.
Okay, so I did my case study analysis on David's paper, and I compared it to Badu. And so basically, war propaganda and the media, we hear all the time that freedom is not free, and we also hear that by going to war, we're helping to bring other people to freedom. Well, according to Badu, if you look at the ethics of difference, there's a quote. It says, "Tolerance, which consists of not being offended by the fact that others think and act differently than you, but yet we still want to Americanize the rest of the world." So in a way, I feel like that's kind of going against that ethics of difference. So as far as propaganda of war, according to David, there are 4 stages of the propaganda. The first stage is the crisis stage. An event happens, everyone's terrified, we want to go to war. The next stage, basically the leader of the country that we are going to war against is demonized. Thirdly, the individuals themselves are demonized. And lastly, basically we find out that things have been committed by this opposing nation that are just, really bad, and we have to go to war. So basically, the media does have a way of swaying our opinion. They want to terrify us, and then they want to make us angry. That way we will support the war. Well, according to Badu, a truth is the material course traced within a situation by the eventual supplementation. Badu refers to us as subjects, and that we bear a process of truth. So basically, we're nothing more than the product of programming. And when you really look at it, what is truth? Truth is basically what we can see and hear, and no one really knows the entire picture. So David also talks about military control of the media. The military controls the media, and they basically have a way of conning the citizens into supporting a war or invasion of any sort. Again, I'm going to quote Badu. He has shown himself to be the most wily of animals, the most patient and the most obstinately dedicated to the cruel desires of his own power. Basically I go on to say, we're really not at war to free other people. We're not at war to Americanize other people. We're not at war because there is some tyrant overseas torturing all of his people. We are at war out of greed, and usually because we want something the other country has. Lastly, David talks about public relations, which is kind of funny because in my case study, public relations was also mentioned in convincing people that it's okay to go to war. And so basically the media has a way of causing euphoria amongst the people. We basically are made to feel good about the fact that we are at war. They don't really tell us that we're, bombing children in hospitals, that we're stopping some threat. And again, about truth, Badu speaks about truth. A truth process is untouched by crisis. And that kind of goes back to the stages of manipulating us into going to war. The first stage is crisis. So really, when you watch the news or if you see something about a war, really ask yourself, is this something that's really going on, or is this something that someone is trying to show me? And basically my conclusion of this whole thing, I don't like to think of myself as, of a subject that has basically been programmed by society. But, unfortunately, there is evidence that this does exist. I like to hope that we can rise above that and make our own decisions. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so my do I start?
Any analysis?
Yeah, my analysis is on the media in the United States. So media, as we know, their role is just explanation of information, but most of the time they don't do that job in an ethnic way. So take for instance, most of the media, it's only what they want the public to know. They are there for money. According to what Silas said, he said media is for money and not for information. Media is for money and not information. In that case, he's just trying to say that actually the way the media manipulate the public in order to achieve their selfish end. But we are not saying that any business person should not maximize his or her profit, but they should have to do it in such a manner that they have to uphold the ethic and the ethic value that set up the company, instead of being moved by the profit. They are being driven by the profit instead of the ethnic and the moral value of the company. So on the other hand, they are also involved in biased information and inaccurate information as well. But on the other side of it, Baidu said that if all these things are happening, what the question he asked, what are we doing to stop those kind of manipulation? What is going on wrong in our society? What have we done so far? Well, everybody is saying the media is too manipulative, it's too politicized. Then what have we done to stop it? But there is of the view that everybody has to be involved. We cannot sit on the fence and start saying things are not going on, because everybody feels that it's not my business, I am not involved, therefore nothing's being done. So it's of the view that we have to do some engage, and that's what we call engagement principle, engagement policy. So he also mentioned about being too politicized and driven by the money. Yeah. So America is an capitalist state, so everything is about money. So in this aspect, what the other is saying is that, okay, let me give an instance to drive home my point. Is that if you check out the presidential election that is going on, in the Republican side, they have over 10 candidates, but it's only one person that is being, giving 100% coverage by the media. That is Donald Trump. Anywhere he goes, whatever he does, then what happened to the other 9 or 10 candidates? We don't hardly hear much about them. That's the motive, that's the way the media manipulate the public, because I believe they are not fair to other candidates, because maybe they are not billionaire, or they don't have what it takes to cover them. So in actual sense, we cannot get what you call fair and balanced news. Like I said, it's only what they want us to know that they will bring to. So moreover, he said, Silas mentioned about the biased information, which everybody knows that. In that case, whatever you see in the media, you don't take it for granted that it is 100%. It's up to you to make use of it. But don't depend that if you want to act on a certain thing. For instance, medication, health in the media, where I do my case study. So in the actual sense, you don't say because the pharmacists release, they run an advert that they have a new medication that cures 10 diseases and such. You go and buy it. If you do that, be in trouble and the person might have some problem. It doesn't mean that all the information you see here over the media is correct. You must have to cross-check with your doctor, especially something concerning medication. So it's very important we do that. So the only thing I would say everybody will go with is that when it comes to media, dissemination of information, they do their job, but not as we expected them. So we have to be conscious of what we take in as a correct fact. You don't have to depend on what you hear over the media. You have to use your judgment in whatever decision you're taking.
All right. David?
My case study was pretty much about health in the media. So, pretty much what I got from Badu in certain ways is that, and I quote, it's not only ethics, the complexity about necessity that makes us nihilistic. It also depends on the happiness and the absence of death. Pretty much, we're so obsessed nowadays with being healthy and staying outside of pretty much the borderline where our health might be at risk or even our lives, that we pretty much depend on the media also to feed us everything that is new out there that might help us with our health, which has caused plenty of problems in the past. Not only that, we don't really get to see stuff like this going on much, but lately we have seen the rise of vaccines, how people are trying to fight against the fact that some vaccines might be linked to autism or even other health conditions. And in certain way, Badu doesn't touch vaccines, but he does make a reference to another thing that we could consider close to it, which is euthanasia. Pretty much where a person, feels like he needs the right to have a good death rather than, a painful life. So, which is also very controversial. He says, anyways, I'm not gonna be able to say all of that. It's a whole paragraph, but I mean, so technically that's where we will see most of the arguments when it comes to health-wise, because we pretty much already fit on the model that the whole society has put for us. That we're supposed to be a certain way. We're supposed to pretty much dress a certain way or be a certain way. We found that we found that all of those categories already made for us, whether we want it or not. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.